This is a podcast about both having autism and living with someone who has autism. My mom is Sonya, and I'm Josh, and this is Josh Has Autism.
Hey everybody, welcome to Josh Has Autism.
Hello.
So guess what, everyone? We bought a house.
Yay.
Yes, we did. We own a house, and this is, Dad and I don't know if you know this is our fourth house that we've bought together.
Yeah?
We owned two in Florida, separated by Pennsylvania in the middle, where you grew up, and then now here. And we're very happy about it. Very happy about it. So I'm excited. We closed on it on Monday.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you buy a house, they do the sellers of the home need to rent it back for a while. So what happened is they were buying a house, and the person they were buying it from...
We're waiting for orders, right?
Right. They were Australian military, so they were waiting for their orders, and then they got them. Anyway, so the sellers of the house, they're renting it from us for 2 weeks. Okay. And then we can start heading over.
Okay.
Yep. So we're still here for now. But anyway, so I'm excited about that. It's really, it's a relief. It's like it shifted energy. I feel lighter. It's just, a good thing.
It's like you said, a weight off your shoulders and everything.
Yeah, it sure is. Because now that kind of paves the way for Nana and Pappy to come up, and although, as I say that, I'm telling you for the first time, and then, we've talked about Nana and Pappy before. Because of COVID and Nana's situation, I think she's going to wait till February to come up.
Oh.
Just to be safe.
Okay.
And they can finish up with their doctors and do all that kind of stuff and get stuff transferred up here. Anyway, what I want to talk to you today about, Josh, is that this move, we've had some conversations about this, but the move has brought up some things, some opportunities, and your reaction to those opportunities have been...
lackluster?
Yes. Curious. Like curiouser and curiouser. Yes. So I just want to ask you about that. So we are going to move out of this apartment into the house. And there is an opportunity for you to move in with RJ. Yeah. Who is your brother-in-law. Yeah. And so there's a bunch of we talked to you about that, and it's interesting. So can you just tell me how that makes you feel? You've never had an opportunity like this. Like, we had a house that we bought in Florida, and we specifically built a section onto it that was like it was a garage. It was a garage. But it had a detached garage and an attached garage, and we turned the attached garage into an apartment for you. Or what other people might know as like a mother-in-law suite. Yeah. And you didn't like it. It was too big. It was too much. It felt like you said it was too much responsibility. Right. And we come up here, and I'm thinking maybe this is going to be really good for you to spend maybe a month or two living with RJ in an apartment and see how you do. See what happens. And I don't think you're really crazy about the idea.
Honestly, I'm not.
How come?
Not because of RJ or anything like that. It's just occurred to me that it's because it's a limited amount of time. Like, it's not as you would call it a forever home or whatever. Does it make sense?
It does, but are you talking about just because we're saying, well,
Because it's temporary.
but it doesn't have to be temporary if it works.
It's an apartment.
Well, but if you don't stay there, you could get a different apartment. One time when you were little, you were going through a growth spurt, and I said to you that we were going to get you a new jacket.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking that you're going to like that, a new jacket. You love to go shopping. You love to feel textures.
Yeah.
You like to, to experience that for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so that would be a good thing. But this one time I told you, I said, we're going to get you a new jacket. And you said, I can't get a new jacket. All my stuff is in this one. And you had all your treasures stuffed in your pockets.
Yeah.
All the pockets you had in your jacket. You had all these treasures. So, like, do you remember that real smooth stone that you had?
Yeah. Which one?
That it was kind of dented a little bit.
Oh, yeah. So it was, like, perfect for rubbing your thumb there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You had that.
Yeah.
At one point, you had, like, a piece of silk.
Yeah.
So that you could...
Yeah.
feel that, because that was comforting to you. So you had all your stuff in your jacket, and you were thinking, no, all the stuff isn't in this one. And I was like, well, you can put it in the new jacket. But for you, it was like, no, it's in this one.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the sleeves were, moving up and up your arm as you're growing, clearly not fitting anymore. But, so is it like that? Like... you want to be, and that makes me, I should ask you one question at a time. You're in an apartment now.
Mm-hmm.
Did knowing that this was not going to be permanent affect you the same way?
Yeah.
What happens?
It is... How can I explain it? There's a difference between living somewhere just a couple of months as opposed to over a year.
Okay.
Like where we're at right now in this apartment.
Mm-hmm.
We've been in here for a little over a year.
Yes.
And yet, if I were to move in with RJ for a practice run for a couple months, that doesn't... For one thing, it's not tangible. It's not...
Grounding? I guess a lack of grounding, it's a lack of foundation. Or okay. So it's...
It's nebulous.
Okay.
As in, it's very open-ended.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you hate open-ended.
Yeah.
The reason that I said a couple months,
Mm-hmm.
I thought that would actually be helpful to you. Like putting a smaller time frame on it was my way of saying, you can try this, and if it works, then you're going to know if it works. Because you're going to know how you feel.
Right.
You're going to know what you're able to accomplish.
Right.
If it doesn't work, then, we bought a house with your room in it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of like, in my mind, it's an opportunity for you to see what you're capable of doing on your own.
Right.
And knowing that there's the safety net that if you... if it's overwhelming or whatever happens, if it, causes you to want to come to the house, then you can. So
Right.
I thought just the opposite. My intention was the opposite of how it makes you feel.
Yeah.
So what if I said, this is not what I'm saying, but if I had come to you and said, there's a this many months, let's say 8 months left on a lease, or you like the year mark, let's say there's...
No, just further than just a couple months.
Okay. So 8 months left on the lease. Are you interested in going and seeing if you can live in a different space than your dad and I? What comes up? Like what makes you? What do you feel about that? If, yeah, what do you feel about that?
I'm not sure because I'm a little bit confused. Like I'm not exactly sure what you're saying right now. So if you could just word it a little bit differently.
Sure. So Dad and I, we bought a house.
Mm-hmm.
In this house, there's a room for you. When we go over, you can go over if you want to. There's also an opportunity, because RJ already has an apartment with 3 bedrooms.
Yeah.
And he doesn't need 3 bedrooms.
Right.
That it's an opportunity for you to go and live there in a space that you know very well. With RJ, who you get along with great. And you can see, because you can see what, can you get on a schedule? Can you accomplish things that, were you interested in that, to see what can happen, to see how you feel about it, to see what can work?
I mean, yes and no.
Did that question make sense to you
yes,
now? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It did make sense, more sense to me now.
Okay.
Yes and no. Okay. It's, I would be interested in that. Let me rephrase that. Yes, with reservations.
Okay.
Because, I mean, as it is right now, I'd be alone most of the time. And historically, I don't do well like that. Meaning, if I'm on my own, historically, I don't do much. Like, whether it be around the house or whatever.
So, right. So, at the risk of sounding like a jerk, you don't do much anyway. Living here with us.
I procrastinate so bad whenever I'm alone. It's horrible. I don't do anything.
So I guess what I'm saying is that I don't know if you could. We're in the process too, and you have an appointment tomorrow, with your doctor, that's connecting us to a life skills coach.
Oh, okay.
And so that person's going to be involved. I guess what I'm thinking is that there are parts of our relationship, of living together, that, it feels like I don't know what more we can do. I don't know what more your dad and I have to offer you in the way of helping you to, like, take steps forward.
Right.
And I feel like just, in my mind anyway, if you had your own space, your life skills coach, you had the security of knowing that any time it didn't work, you're going to be able to tell. You're going to be able to figure it out. With the life coach especially, are you going to be able to get your laundry done? Are you going to be able to keep things clean? Are you going to be able to do dishes after dinner?
Right.
You're going to be able to essentially do the things that you need to get done. And you're going to start college, right?
Yeah.
So you would have that time during the day to... Well, you would have that time anywhere. But...
Yeah.
So the whole thing, I guess, is that it's about, growing up. And, when you grow up, becomes responsibilities of growing up. And, when you're a kid, you don't have to pay bills. You don't have to think about these kinds of things. You follow somebody else's list, a chore chart. Well, I have that for you. I do those things for you. But what if I'm actually doing a disservice to you by... Because I don't know how to do it any different.
Right.
Essentially, maybe I need a life skills coach. A coach to... Yes, a coach to help me to... we did this thing before. It was called transferring of skills when you were younger.
Mm-hmm.
Thing is that I don't think I've done a very good job of that transferring of skills because you rely on me a lot. And no, it's not pleasant to think about, but at some point, I'm not going to be here. At some point, your dad's not going to be here. And if there's a way to help you to move forward in your life, to be more independent, then that's the whole reason that I'm even talking to you about this, is that it's kind of a experiment to see how you would do. And if you had the supports in place.
Yeah.
I understand that new things is not something that you love.
Right.
Change, it doesn't even make the list of things that you kind of like.
Yeah.
So, what do you think that would be like? What do you think that would feel like if you did do this? Do you think there's a possibility of success?
Yes. I honestly couldn't even put a percentage to it, though.
Right. Would you be able to do things differently than you do now? That's my question, because I don't know the answer. I don't know. But I have seen you, when you do things for you, things that you want to do, you seem to be together and organized.
Yeah.
And about that, a friend sent me an email about a theory, and I want to talk to you about that pretty soon, or I'd like to talk to her about it, then talk to you about it, which is how when you're doing something that you don't want to do, how you then feel sensations in your body that are uncomfortable, and you're acutely aware of those. Yeah. But you might not have been before you were asked to do something.
Right.
Then you take, what's that word?
Take stock.
Take stock of, thank you, take stock of what you're feeling, and then you feel something, and then you're like, oh, not doing it. Yeah. Right. So, I'm just... Yeah, so anyway, she sent me an email, and I'm fascinated by that. So I want to talk to her about it and do a podcast on that alone. I think it's super interesting. But... so I don't know what to do about this. I don't know. I think it's a great idea. I do. I think it's a great idea. I think that it doesn't, the negative to it is that there would be some apprehension involved. There would be a learning curve.
Yeah. Not a bell curve, but a learning curve.
Yep. Yep. What is the hardest thing for you to stay on track? That when we talk about grown-up things, those things are, keeping track of your hygiene.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking ahead so that you have enough food in the house. That you have clean clothes to wear.
Yeah.
Things like if you don't take care of things on a regular basis, they begin to wear down. They begin to fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
A toilet, if it's got to be cleaned, I see your face, I'll talk about something else. A sink. A sink has to be cleaned.
Yeah.
And wiped down, and
yeah.
Otherwise it just will stain. And yeah, I see what you're doing. You're making some faces, and you have this posture now as I'm talking to you about this. So you sat down and your arms are crossed. So what happens when I'm talking to you about this kind of stuff? How does it feel?
I don't like it.
How come?
It, only words that are coming to mind is showcasing my failures. Not failures per se, but just my difficulties.
That's what I'm doing right now by talking about this?
I know that's not what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
but that's kind of the best words I can find for it right now.
Okay.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah. So, did I just embarrass you by bringing that up?
No. At this point, I probably have no shame.
You say, I know that you're making a joke.
Yeah.
But
I am making a joke.
You are, but at the same time, you do share a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Whether
it's the good and the difficult.
Yes.
Right.
I don't.
Yeah, you're wearing a shirt that says, "I used to be a people person, then people ruined it." I just read what your shirt said. It's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. From my point of view, is that it goes back to sometimes I feel like I don't have anything else to offer. Like I've got you to a certain point.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it just feels like we are, plugging along in this together, but you're not thriving in certain areas that I don't know what the answer is, because and this because I've talked to you about this before. Are there things that you can't do? Or is it that there's things that are difficult for you to do, and then there's things that you just don't want to do? There's three different categories. And oftentimes, I don't know which one you're in. And sometimes it feels like if I'm always there for you, making everything easy, then how does that help you to grow? How does that help you to really see what you're capable of doing? And so when I bring this up, this is not me saying, yeah, go live on your own. I'm saying this is an opportunity and a safe place for you where you can see what's maybe easier for you than you thought. Or
right.
what trips you up. And at that point then you can with the life skills coach, maybe find a new way of handling something.
Yeah. Are you asking me a question, or is it?
I'm just saying that's where I'm coming from.
Okay.
Where I'm saying that, and sometimes and this about me, there are times when I'm there for you 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And do so freely and comfortably.
Yeah.
And then there's times when I question whether you could actually be doing more, but you're just not. And I don't know where that line is. It's very difficult for me to see, but what happens is I get frustrated at that point. And like I just said, the goal is to help you to be able to be more independent.
Yeah.
So I can't tell you how long it would be. I'm suggesting a couple months, but we can change it. 8 months. If you had 8 months to see how it went,
Mm-hmm.
what would that... Are you open to that?
I think so.
Okay.
But again, I have worries about it. Most of which are just insecurities, I guess, but...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And those worries are just about what? That when you're left alone, you don't accomplish anything?
To the last minute, yeah.
Yeah. What happens? Why is that?
I sleep.
Why?
I'll let you know when I have an answer for that.
Okay. All right. Because you say you're not depressed.
Right.
Okay. So I thought that for a long time that you sleeping so much was because you're depressed. But you're saying you don't feel depressed anymore.
Right. I'm exhausted a lot of the time. And I'm not sure why.
I think probably a lot of it is, not all of it, but I
Mhm.
think diet and lack of exercise
Okay.
would probably help out with that.
Hmm.
Maybe take some vitamins.
Hmm.
Your posture and the way that you're looking is different this time around in this conversation than lots of other ones, because I can tell that you're clearly uncomfortable with this whole subject.
Yeah.
And I know you, and I know that when you are not comfortable with something, a lot of times you don't follow through.
Hmm. Yeah. I've seen that.
Mm-hmm. So, if in a couple of weeks, when Dad and I start moving our stuff over there, and you too, because you're big and strong,
Mm.
and we have some heavy stuff to lug over,
Yeah.
what do you think? Have you thought about that? Have you thought about that we're going to be moving out of here?
Yeah.
What comes up when you think of that?
Where am I gonna be?
Where do you want to be?
I don't know. I really don't know.
What would be the benefit of moving to the house with us?
I'm sorry, what?
I said, what would be the benefit of moving into the house with us?
I mean, there's a lot of them. Mainly, I guess the main ones would be you being right there to help me out if I need it. Not having to worry about waking up neighbors or whatever. I don't know. See, it's not coming out right.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Okay. Well, like I said a number of times here, this is clearly difficult for you.
Yeah.
And I guess what I'm saying is that, bottom line is that the goal is at this point, it has been for a while, but at this point in your life, maybe it's a good idea we really see what you can do and give you the supports that are not me.
Yeah.
To see what you can accomplish, to see what's okay, what you can do.
Yeah.
The thing that I like about it is that you know RJ, he's probably your best friend.
Yeah.
And what if you had the apartment and then you came and stayed with us, like on weekends? Or does that not really matter because RJ's off on weekends? So you wouldn't be alone. You don't know?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Go ahead.
I'm trying to be helpful and everything, and it's just not really working.
Okay. I get it. This is the hard part. I have the hardest time figuring this stuff out, and I always have. From the time that you were a little guy, what do you need help with, or what am I interfering with?
Right.
So when do I step in? When do I step back? And it's this fine line, because I really can't tell when you need something, when I'm coddling, when I'm babying, when I'm supporting, when I'm encouraging. It all kind of...
It's like you're playing hopscotch with one line.
Yes. And I don't know what to do often.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I know that I've done well is love you.
Yeah.
I can say with confidence that I've done that well with you.
Yes.
Everything else, I second guess myself, I question myself, I just don't know. And it's frustrating.
Yeah.
It doesn't help that I'm a Libra and I go back and forth on everything. I see two sides to all things all the time, which sometimes can make your dad crazy. It's good. Yeah, so I'm just trying to help you. And, I do have to say, too, that there's a piece of this that would be nice for your dad and I to have time to ourselves.
Yeah.
Nana's moving up, whether she builds an addition onto our home and stays there, or she finds something down the road.
Right.
When we leave here, we would have the house to ourselves until February.
Yeah.
So I have to say, there's a part of that that's kind of, pretty appealing to me.
Yeah.
But the main reason is for even this conversation and this idea is to help you to... I know it's not comfortable. I know that if, you do this, I'm going to be over at the house worrying about you.
Yeah.
Have you got enough to eat? Have you...
Right.
Right. Which I really shouldn't, because you're always going to... Like, you will tell me if you're hungry. You would call me and say, I need food.
Yeah.
Or you would just show up at the house and go to the refrigerator. But, other things. Because it's not always... You're not always aware that things are not getting accomplished until it's brought to your attention that they're not.
Yeah.
But those life skills are huge. And they can help in all areas of your life.
Right.
So I feel like this is an opportunity to see what can happen. I'm not just trying to shove you out there and say, see ya. It's not like that.
Right. I understand.
Yeah. You are wiped out.
I am. Yeah.
All right.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's all right. I just think that it was a conversation that I wanted to have with you, and I didn't think it would be an easy one, but I didn't realize how difficult it would be for you to express yourself and really see how this could be beneficial.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I'm saying that I recognize that it's difficult for you. The whole idea, the whole concept, and the fact that it's abstract too, which is a thing that you hate.
Yeah.
So not having a clear idea of what something looks like.
Right.
So let me know what you need in order to make it feel better. if we can go down to RJ's and look at the room. There's 2 rooms you can choose.
Mm-hmm.
Choose one, and let's see where things would go. Let's see how you would like it to be set up.
Okay.
Those kinds of things that are tangible.
Okay.
Let's do those things. And we'll just go from there.
Okay.
Okay. You're done.
Yeah.
You're done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say to everybody that's listening, this is how it has felt for me for a number of years, that I never really quite know what to do. I am always trying to see, a few steps down the road ahead of time to see what we can do to make things easier and better, and, for the functioning to improve, for the anxiety to lessen, the feeling of being overwhelmed to not be as intense. And, I just, sometimes it's like been a lifetime of that. And I'm at a point here where I feel like maybe this is what needs to happen, is just a little bit of separation. And in my point of view, there's there's no lose here, because if it doesn't work out, it just comes and lives with us.
Yeah.
But that's where we are. If any of you out there listening have been through this before, please let me know. If you have any advice, please let me know. What you think about this podcast, and if you have any suggestions for either one of us, we'll take it.
Yeah.
Because it's new territory here. So we're not quite sure how to move through. Anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with us again. Please give us 5 stars if you would. Go to SonyaKing.com. It's SonyaKing. .com. You can see blogs and podcasts and some pictures of us. By artwork done by RJ. And anyway, thank you very much, and I hope you have a great day. Love you.
Bye.